What's going on, guys, and welcome back to our channel. I'm your host Noah, and in this video I'll explain to you what is a variable and what it is used for. Let's get straight into it by going on our computer. Okay, so now I'm in my file explorer and I've created a file for our tutorials on this channel. So you can right click on the mouse, select new, and select text file. It's not really important what you select, but because we are going to rename it, so you can rename it, let's say variables.py. The .py is really important because this will tell the PC, the computer, that it is a Python file. So if everything is done correctly, if you select yes, then the Python icon, which is here, will be showed on the file. So now you can click on variable, right click and select open with code. And there we are, we have our variable.py in Visual Studio Code. So a variable is the way to store data in programs. To create a variable, you need to tell the name of the variable. So I'm going to use the name A to easily access it. A is the name of my variable, and to assign a value to it, you need to write equal and then the number you assign to it. It's an integer, so I'm going to assign to it, for example, 2. To check if the variable has been created, we're going to use a very basic Python function. So the function is called print. This will allow the program to show everything we want. We can show a phrase like hello world, but we can also print out the value of a variable. So for example, here I've created the variable A, so I'm going to print the variable A. To run our program, you select run, start debugging, and then Python file. If you followed our first tutorial, then normally everything is configured to run the program correctly. So you select Python file, and then here in the terminal you'll see what this program prints out. So here we can see that our program printed hello world. So this is this line of code, and then here it says 2. So what this 2 is the value of A, because we printed out A, which has the value 2 assigned to it. The second type of variable we can use is a float number. So a float number is exactly like an integer, but it's more precise. You can do, for example, 2.8, and here if we say print B, it will say exactly 2.8 if everything is working. So you can run the program, and here we can see hello world 2 and 2.8, which is the value of our float number. And finally, the third type of variable I'm going to explain to you is the type of variable string. I know this the name of this type of variable is strange, but this is how it is in programming. So string is multiple characters, so it's basically a phrase. So we can create a third variable called C and assign to it into brackets the phrase hello world, And we can see that if we put print C and run, here it says hello world. This means everything worked correctly. Now I'm going to talk about the fact that we can add or subtract values from variables. It's like in math. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to create the variable d and assign to it the variable a plus the variable b. Let's see what this gives us. So we print out our d variable and run this program. Here it says hello world, which is our print C, 2 and 2.a, so print A and print B, and finally 4.8, so this is the d variable, which is the variable a plus the variable b. This worked correctly, and so we can see that the d variable is a float variable, because the b variable is a float, and to store a float number we have to create a float variable. Look, I'm gonna try something else. So I'm gonna try to print out the variable c plus the variable a. This means we are going to add a string to an integer. What do you think will happen? Let's see. We save our file, select run, and start debugging. So here, let's see what it says. Okay, look, you can only concatenate a string and not integer to a string. So here, what this means is that it tries to print out a string variable, but we added an integer to a string, and the computer doesn't know what to do in that case. Okay, another important thing is that the name of your variable can be whatever you want. For example, I'm going to show you. You can say my space variable, okay, because this is going to give us an error. I'm going to show you. So for example, I say 1, we can delete all of that and say print my variable. Okay, 1. What does it say? Okay, syntax error, invalid syntax. Yes, this is correct, because you can't put a space in your variable name, because it will be confused and it can't know if the space is in the variable name or not. If you really want to put a space in your variable name, you can simply replace the space by an underscore, like this. So underscore. Okay, now let's try, start debugging. And here you can see it worked perfectly fine, and we have our one value. Okay guys, this is the end of this video. I tried my best to explain to you what is a variable. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, and give us your feedback by commenting down below. See you guys next time.